Twice a month, millions of Hindus observe the Ekadashi fast. It is a day dedicated to spiritual purity, where devotees abstain from food and spend hours in prayer to disconnect from physical needs and connect with the divine. But in the sacred city of Jagannath Puri, the traditional rules of reverence appear to flip. In this specific geographic center of the faith, the usual customs of worship take a turn that seems to contradict the very nature of the ritual. Within the temple precincts, you will find the goddess Ekadashi Mata, the personification of the fast itself, literally hanging upside down. This sight raises immediate, troubling questions. Why present a symbol of purity in such a manner? Was she cursed, or did she commit an act so egregious it required a public display of shame? This tradition serves as a monument to a moment where human impatience collided with the physical creation of a god. The story begins with King Indrayomna, who spent 12 years performing the strict Ekadashi fast. He endured over a decade of hunger and discipline for one reason: to earn a physical vision of Lord Vishnu. His endurance was rewarded with a divine mandate to build a massive temple for a new manifestation of the divine, a structure grand enough to house the Lord of the universe. The construction hit an immediate obstacle. A glowing neem tree washed ashore, but every tool brought against the wood shattered. No mortal blade could carve the sacred timber. An old carpenter, the divine architect Vishwakarma in disguise, offered to carve the idols on one condition: he must be locked in a room for 21 days, and any interruption would force him to leave immediately. The king agreed, pitting his 12 years of proven patience against a final 3-week window of silence. On the 11th day, the day of the Ekadashi fast, the queen stood outside the locked room. Weakened by hunger and fueled by a growing anxiety that the room was silent, her self-control began to fail. She broke the one rule. Overcome by her doubt, she pushed the heavy door open just enough to see inside. The carpenter vanished instantly, leaving behind 3 wooden figures. They were magnificent, but they were incomplete. Because the carving was interrupted, the figures of Jagannath, Balabhadra, and Subhadra were left without hands or feet. Their features remained locked in a raw, unfinished state. To avoid the king's wrath, the queen claimed that the Ekadashi fast had clouded her intellect. She argued that her hunger had made it impossible to think clearly, shifting the blame for her curiosity onto the ritual itself. This excuse spread through the kingdom. If the queen's mind could be broken by the fast, the people began to fear that the ritual was spiritually dangerous, causing a sudden, widespread decline in devotion. To save the faith of his people, the king summoned Ekadashi Mata to a grand council to answer for the queen's claim. Ekadashi Mata explained that the ritual does the opposite of what the queen suggested. This visualization shows how the fast suppresses physical distractions, clearing the mental noise of hunger to create spiritual clarity. Her logic was flawless, but it wasn't enough. The public's doubt was already rooted, regardless of the goddess's words. They saw the queen's failure as proof that the fast was to blame. To protect the reputation of the fast, Ekadashi Mata made a choice. She demanded to be punished as if the queen's lie were true. By accepting the guilt and hanging upside down, she allowed the ritual of fasting to remain pure in the eyes of the people. Lord Jagannath chose to remain in his limbless form to complement her sacrifice, showing that God values the intent of the devotee over physical perfection. Today, this inverted figure stands as a monument to divine mercy. It reminds every pilgrim that the goddess accepted a public humiliation so that the faith of millions could remain unbroken.